Well, hello you guys. That feels so awkward. Oh my goodness. Well, hello everybody. Well, hello everyone. It's been a while. I know, I'm aware, and I say this all the time for all of my recent videos, and it's just been a while. But today I'm feeling a little more motivation, so I wanted to come on here and chat with you guys about what I've been up to, what I've been reading, what my reading plans are, because I did not do any kind of January or New Year goal setting video or anything like that. You know, all the typical videos people usually put out, but I just haven't gotten to them. So we're going to be covering kind of a lot today. I wrote some bullet points down so that I can kind of stay on track and hopefully not make this too long-winded. We'll see how that goes. I feel very awkward right now. I don't know if you can tell. It's been a while since I sat in front of a camera and talked. But yeah, I'm a little cold right now, so I'm gonna go make a coffee and then we can sit down and chat about all the things. Delicious. Okay, so yeah, where have I been? So I did get the first part of my Poland travel vlog up. Thanks for the good feedback on that one. Had fun chatting with people in the comments there, but still haven't gotten around to the second part, so you can still look forward to that. But yeah, I had ambitions and I have video ideas that, or I had video ideas that I wanted to do to finish out the year of 2025, and then I wanted to do other videos for the beginning of a new year, but those obviously didn't happen. We did a lot of traveling for the holidays. We went down to Georgia to my family, and then we went up to Ohio for my husband's family, and that was about a week and a half of traveling. And then we came home. We're home for a couple days, and we traveled out to Colorado for a wedding then. And otherwise I've just been here. If you missed my announcement, we are expecting another baby, and this pregnancy, yeah, the first trimester was pretty awful as far as sickness goes, but once I hit the second trimester, then that kind of cleared up for the most part. But I've just been so much more exhausted this pregnancy than I was for the first one, and I don't know, it's gotten better on that aspect as well, thankfully. But yeah, I've been so tired, and I'm not really motivated to do much of anything, so I've just been doing a lot of resting. Unfortunately, I've been in a massive reading slump. I've only completed 2 books this month so far, and I say only because usually by this point I've had at least 5 books read in a month, but that's okay. Yeah, I don't really know where the slump came from, unless it was just the fact that there were so many books that I didn't finish at the end of 2025 that I was kind of wanting to carry into 2026, but there were a lot of new books that I wanted to read in 2026, but didn't feel like I could get to them until I finished my other books. you know, that problem. Really enjoyed the books that I did finish so far, but I just have not been reading as much as I would love to and as much as I would normally do. But I'm trying to change that. It doesn't help that when I don't feel good, reading doesn't help me feel better. Like, reading almost makes it worse. And so I tend to pull my phone out or watch some YouTube or something instead to just like distract my mind from not feeling good. So I want to try to break some of those habits here and just get back into reading. And once I finally finished some of the books that I was working on and I picked up other books that I was really wanting to read, I can feel myself slowly digging myself out of this hole that I've been in. And I'm actually really looking forward to some of the books that are on my radar right now that I want to read. I don't really have a set TBR, but I kind of want to do something like that. I maybe like do a 26 books in 2026 video again. But right now it's just strictly mood reading because that's the only thing I can handle right now because I'm not reading much. And it doesn't help if I'm picking up books that I'm not in the mood for. Anyway, I normally do the Brighter Winter Reading Challenge that I have loved and done for the past 6 years or more. But this year, when I got to the reading prompts for the challenge, I just felt this weight on my shoulders and this like almost stressful feeling of like trying to find the books that fit the prompts. And none of the prompts, I shouldn't say none, most of the prompts were for books that I just didn't feel like I was in the mood for, especially with my big slump that I was in. And I just decided I'm not gonna do it this year. And that felt very freeing. I was like, I'm not gonna add added stress to my life, and especially to my reading life, by doing something that I don't want to do, even though I have normally really enjoyed it. And it usually kind of sets me off with like reading a lot of books in January and February at the beginning of the year. So that's another reason why I usually have more books read by now, because I'm trying to complete challenges to check them off, because they do a prize at the end. If you do complete a certain amount of challenges, you get entered for a grand prize drawing. So I usually try to do that, and I usually get a lot of books read in January and February just to kick off the year on a good start. But at the same time, I've always felt a lot of pressure to get those books read, and it's all on me. It's me. I put the pressure on myself, so I decided to not do that this year. And it's been good, but I haven't gotten a lot of books read, but that's okay. I did want to show you a book haul of the books that I got for Christmas. I got a few books for Christmas, which is a lot of fun. From my husband, I got Keeper of Hidden Books, another Madeline Martin book that I'm really excited to read. I haven't read this one yet, but I have been loving all of her books. Some more than others, but for the most part they've all been 4 or 5 stars. And I'm really excited to read this one. I only own The Last Bookshop in London and now this one. So I'm excited to add it to my collection. I do want to own all of her books that I've read so far, but I just haven't gotten to those yet. And then I got Born of Gilded Mountains by Amanda Dykes. This one has been on my wish list and TBR for ever since it came out and people were talking about it. And mostly because it's set in Colorado in the mountains that I love and miss so very much. I finally got it, and I did actually read it. This is one of the books that I read this month, but I will talk about all of my thoughts at the end of the month in my wrap up. And then I got, let me see here, try to get them in the correct order. I don't actually know if they're going to be in the correct order, but I got this series by Carrie Cotton. The first one I know is The Huntress. I have read this one on Kindle, and the second one is The Viking. They're not numbered, so I'm not really sure which one is the third book and which is the fourth, but The Raven, and then I don't know how to pronounce that word, so We're not even gonna try. But I really, really loved The Huntress, the first book, and I wanted to own the series. And my husband's side of the family drew names for Christmas gift exchange, and his dad had my name and he got me the whole set here. I think there's still a 5th book, but I'm very happy with this whole collection and I can't wait to actually keep reading the series. The end of 2025 from, let me see, September, October. When I found out that I was expecting another baby in September, I believe it was, and almost immediately got sick. And so I think I completed 4 books from the end of September, beginning of October to the end of the year. So I'll quickly do a little wrap up of those books as well. Okay, so I actually read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books at the end of the year, from like October to the end of December. And the first one was Tea with Elephants by Robin Jones Gunn. I borrowed this from the library on Kindle. And this, I'm not going to talk much about these books because everybody knows what I feel like most people are familiar with this book at least, and I don't quite remember all the details because it was so long ago, but I did enjoy this one. It was a good story on friendships, finding healing, and I loved the setting in Africa in Kenya with the safari and everything, so that was a lot of fun because it brought back memories of when I was in Kenya and had the opportunity to go on a safari. I remember thinking I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but I think it was just my mood that I was in, honestly, because it was a good story and I appreciated the aspects of friendship in it and just them processing emotional things that they were going through with other relationships. But I rated it 4 stars and I do recommend. It was good. And then the second one that I finished was The Heart of Bennett Hollow. I actually have that book here. This is Joanne Bischoff DeWitt. She just recently got married, so she has a new last name. But she wrote one of my favorite books, The Lady and the Lionheart. And when I saw that this one was coming out, it's a retelling, I guess, of Pride and Prejudice, but set in the Appalachians. Appalachians. You know what? I always grew up saying Appalachians, and I'm from the South, but I fear that may be incorrect according to the people who actually live there. So forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, but that is how I grew up saying it. But I really enjoyed this one. I actually have a reading vlog of me reading this book. I don't know how long it is or if I ever even finished it, so I might include some clips at the end of this video of me reading this book. No promises though, because I don't know how long this is gonna get. I might just make a separate video, but I actually really enjoyed this one. I rated it 4 stars. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but it was still a lot of fun. Some people didn't like how close it was to Pride and Prejudice, but at the same time it's a retelling, and so there are going to be a lot of aspects of the story that are going to be very similar, and that's what I love about it, because I love the original story of Pride and Prejudice. But this was just a different spin on things because of the different setting, different time period, and yeah, I really enjoyed it for the most part. Again, don't remember a ton of details or a lot of thoughts on it, but I thought it was still a good time, so I do recommend it. Then the next one that I completed was Through Each Tomorrow. This is book number 6 in the Timeless series by Gabrielle Meyer, and we follow a brother and sister, Charles and Cecily. Charles is the time crosser in this one, and he also has a friend who is a time crosser who happens to be in the same years that he is, both of the years. So I thought that was a fun, different twist, because they're not related, but they are time crossers, and they both live in the same 2 different time paths, I guess. But I loved this one. As I've loved all of her other books, this one was still just a 4-star, maybe 4.5-star read. It didn't have a ton of like the big plot twists that some of her others have had, but I think that's because I knew some details about this book that I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. I don't know if it was told by like in all the promotions of the book, if like Gabrielle Meyer gave this information, or if I just happened to see it on Instagram or YouTube maybe, about who Charles is and what other book he shows up in the series. I don't want to say it because I don't want to give spoilers away if it is an actual spoiler. I just can't remember where I heard it. And so if you don't know that, I guess that would be a fun surprise at the end. A fun little twist. So I'm not going to say, but I did know about it, and so it wasn't that shocking. And yeah, so no major huge plot twist that kind of like blew my mind like there were in other books, but I really enjoyed this one. I was more invested in Cecily and Drew's story. Drew is the friend that also time crosses, but I still really like Charles's story. A lot of people don't like Charles, or so I've heard. My sister didn't like him as much, and I think it was Oshina too that I heard didn't really like her, and some other friends that I talked to that were reading it just didn't really love Charles and his character. And I can maybe understand a little bit, but I liked him. And I felt like I could give him grace. I don't know how much to say. I don't want to give things away, you know? But I felt like I could give him grace for the circumstances that he was in and the choices that he made. I think a lot of people didn't really like his attitude and felt like he was maybe being two-faced or a hypocrite. And I'm like, he kind of had to be because of the circumstances he was in. Which doesn't always make it right, but like I understood why he was doing what he was doing. And I thought that there was some decent character growth in him. Not my favorite male character in this series, but I still enjoyed him, and I didn't dislike him like a lot of people did. I hear Eden, she woke up. I was hoping to get this done before she wakes up. 1 second. Okay, she actually fell back asleep. I think I need to talk a little quieter though so she doesn't hear me and wake up again. But anyway, the next one that I finished was Vienna Prelude by Brock and Bodhi Taney. This is book 1 of the Zion Covenant series. This was a reread. This was the only book that I was in the mood to read after I finished Through Each Tomorrow. Between Through Each Tomorrow and this book was about 8 weeks or more of just sickness where I didn't get any reading done. And so when I started finally feeling better again, right around Thanksgiving, thankfully I got over most of it before all of the holiday eating and all the good foods. But anyway, this was the only book that I was in the mood to read. It was a reread, but I kind of wanted to get back into this series, and so I wanted to read this one first before I finished the rest of the series. And it was the first time I read it was a 5-star read. Still 5 stars after a reread. I think this is the only book so far that I've read of the Taney's books. So I'm not really sure what their other books and series are like, or their writing style. Or, yeah, I don't actually know what the general opinion is of their books, but I love history and I love historical fiction where it is a little heavier on the history aspects of it, just because it makes history come alive to me when I can put it with stories of people, and they include a lot of real characters in here and real events, and it just makes it come alive for me, and I really love that. But I just love all of the characters in this book as well. We follow Elisa. She is part of the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra, and she plays violin, and she is half Jewish, but she hides that. Part of her identity, and has like an Aryan, goes by an Aryan last name pretty much, just for protection. And this is right around the rise of Hitler, obviously, and World War II, the beginnings of World War II. It's mostly just Hitler's rise to power and his taking over Germany and Austria eventually. There are a lot of characters to keep up with in this book, but I feel like they did a good job of, you know, creating these characters that are memorable and you remember them even though you may not have seen them for a couple chapters or not. But yeah, she unknowingly becomes part of the underground and the resistance, and once she realizes it, she's okay with it. But yeah, there's a lot that happens in this book. I don't even know how to really tell you everything, but the rest of the series continues the story, and so I can't even really remember how it ends completely because it kind of merges with the next book. But she does meet an American journalist, John Murphy is his name, but there is romance in here, but she has a hard time deciding if she loves John or if she is still in love with her previous boyfriend, who is actually part of the German army now, I guess. And it was just a whole mess with that situation of betrayal and everything, but very interesting. I really enjoyed this one, and it was just fun to revisit it again. And I did read the second book then in the series in January, so that one I'll talk about at the end of this month as well. But yeah, I do recommend this one at least. Don't know really what to tell you about the rest of the series except the second book, but anyway. And then I only read one Christmas book at the end of December, and it was a very short one, and it is The Greatest Gift, A Christmas Tale by Philip Van Duren Stern, and this is the one that It's a Wonderful Life is based off of. It's a very short little book, short story, but I just love the meaning of it. This is the second time that I read it, and it's 5 stars. It's a really beautiful story about just the meaning of life and how our lives have value and they matter even if they didn't really turn out the way we thought they would. It's just a really beautiful story, and if you haven't read it yet, or if you have not even seen the movie, you should at least watch the movie, but preferably read the book. Read the story first, because I actually grew up not watching It's a Wonderful Life, and I know that's kind of like a classic holiday movie to watch every year for some families, and I just never saw it. I read the story last year, and then I read it again this year, and then I finally decided to watch the movie, and I was a little bit disappointed in the movie just with the way it was made. And they did change some details of the story and added some details in that just changed a few things for me, and I'm always a stickler for the original, like, sorry, but the movie is still wonderful. You should still watch it. It's still really good. But I do recommend reading this short little story. Add it to your Christmas list for this next year if you haven't read it yet. There's my little end of 2025 wrap up for you guys. A little late, but here we are. What I'm currently reading right now is a reread of He Fell in Love with His Wife. I was talking to some friends from my church here and was telling them about it, and it was like, you guys need to read this book. And so a lot of them were reading it, and so I wanted to reread it so that we can all discuss it again. And so far, all of them have loved it, thankfully, because this book is very dear to my heart. I love it so much. It's probably one of my top books of all time. And I read it, like I said, this is a reread, and so if you haven't seen the vlog of me reading it, I'll link that down below in the description. It was just such a good time, and it's been such a good time reading it again, and it's kind of pulling me out of my slump, thankfully. But that is what I'm currently reading, and I don't really know what else I'm going to get into next. A lot of the ladies from my church have been reading the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, And I know those books have been making their rounds even here on BookTube, and maybe I've mostly seen them on like social media, I guess, and Goodreads. But yeah, I'm very curious to see if I'll like those books. And so once I'm finished with He Fell in Love with His Wife, I think I might start that series, because I have Kindle Unlimited right now and I downloaded all of them, and so I want to read them while I have them, because I'm not going to keep my Kindle Unlimited subscription. I always just take their deals when they have the 99 cents a month deal. And so then I try to stock up on all the books and quickly read them. But anyway, like I said, I want to try to get a 26 books and 2026 books that I want to read video out soon. I'm still going to get my Poland video out, my second one, and then I should be done with that. But yeah, again, I really have no other plans or a schedule. Maybe I should get a schedule. Maybe that would help me get some videos out. But yeah, there's not a lot happening in February that I know of, except it's my birthday month, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, I just don't know how often I'll get videos out, so I'm sorry if there are people waiting for videos from me. But yeah, in this season of life, it's the lowest of low priority right now, and it's still always in the back of my mind. Like, I still want to do it, the desire is still there. I just don't always have the motivation or the energy or the mental space to do the videos. So thanks for bearing with me at least. But I don't really know what else to say. I feel like that was all the updates. Sorry if this felt a little scatterbrained and jumbled all over the place, but that's my brain these days. I think I'll just sign off because I don't really know what else I think that was everything that I was gonna say. But thanks for still being here. Thanks for still supporting me. Thanks for still commenting and interacting with my videos. And yeah, I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll just see where the Lord takes this channel this year, because yeah, there's gonna be another baby this summer, and so that's probably gonna for sure change things and take even more time away from this, which is fine because I love being a mom, and it is truly the greatest joy of my life to be a mom. And this is just more of a side hobby, and I will just do it when I can and when I have inspiration and when I have the time. But there probably won't be a lot of, you know, set schedules and a lot of like consistency this year, so just a fair warning. But again, thanks for being here, and I really appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. See you in the next one. Bye.